What's up, everybody? The Bird Killer here, bringing you our Week 4 recap and our Week 5 predictions. So, going into this week, we are 33 and 14 and 1. We had a really bad week 1, and then we bounced back 15 and 1 week 2, and then we had a so-so week 3. This week we did a little bit better. So I'd like to continue that trend going forward. To start off, on Thursday Night Football, it was the Broncos traveling to New York to take on the Jets. I didn't believe in Ripien against Sam Darnold, and boy was I wrong. That guy played a good game, and that block that he threw to free up Lindsey to seal the game was impressive. Broncos got the win. I took the Jets, so I started off the week 0-1. Didn't look good. Up next, you had the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Carolina Panthers. So here it says home, but I did take the Cardinals. I thought the Cardinals would win. Panthers without McCaffrey don't seem like much of a team. I'm not a big believer in Teddy Bridgewater, even though he has been proving me wrong. Carolina was able to get out there and get a win, so I can just keep that as home, even though I chose the Cardinals. But yeah, Panthers were able to get a win, and I started off 0-2. Not a good start. Up next, I thought was a layup. Ravens at the football team. The Ravens are just overall a way better team than the football team, and they got a pretty easy win. So I'm 1-2. Up next, you had the Steelers at the Titans. This because the Tennessee organization had a bunch of COVID-19 hits, they moved this game to week 7. So this one, obviously, I'm going to keep it as the Steelers, even though it's not being played yet. So I'm still 1-2. Up next, you have the Chargers at the Buccaneers. I took Tom Brady, and he went out and had the biggest game of the year so far for himself against a really good Chargers defense, even though they're lacking quite a few of their starters. Yeah, Tom Brady looked good and had a big win, and that put me at 2-2. Up next, we had the Seahawks at Miami. I thought this was another no-brainer game. Seahawks are a much better team than the Dolphins. Dolphins did keep it a lot closer than I thought it would be, and Russell Wilson kind of slowed down his production, but he's still tied with 16 touchdowns after 4 games with Peyton Manning. So you never know. Maybe he might break the touchdown record this season. Hate the Seahawks, but I love Russell Wilson. A lot of respect to that guy. He's done a lot of things with a really bad team for a long time. Seahawks got the win, and that put me up 3-2. Up next was the Colts at the Bears. I don't like Nick Foles. I don't believe in Nick Foles. I do believe in Phillip Rivers a little bit more. And that Colts defense is stingy. Man, are they good. Both teams had pretty good defenses, but Colts led the way, and they got the win for me there, and got me another win. Up next, we had the Jaguars traveling to take on the Bengals. It says away here, but I did go with the home team. I predicted that Joe Burrow would get his first win, and did he? It wasn't off the back of his own. It came off the back of Joe Mixon, who I sat in fantasy football for Robinson, the Jaguars rookie running back, and that kind of backfired. I'm still 4-0 though, so that's good. But the Bengals came away and got a win. Up next, you had the Cleveland Browns traveling to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys, look, everybody's going crazy about Dak Prescott throwing this many yards. Yeah, that's impressive if the Cowboys are winning, but they're not. And the reason why Dak Prescott is throwing 450 yards a game is because his team is down by 20-plus points in every game, and he's got to throw his way out of it. They've got a really good wide receiving core. But Cowboys aren't doing the right thing to start off the season. They've got to be giving their best player the ball to control the clock. You know, Dak Prescott wants stats. because he's trying to get that big contract. But their defense just isn't good enough. You've got to go back to the old Dallas Cowboys, which is give Zeke the ball and let him run it down your throat and take time off that clock and still score. They're not doing that. Their defense is on the field way too much, and the Cleveland Browns took advantage of that and jammed it down their throat. I picked the Cleveland Browns to win because the Cowboys' defense is terrible, and I was correct. Up next, you had the Saints at the Lions. I don't think the Saints are as bad as they're playing, but another not great game, but not a bad game. They did get the win, so that was another win for me. Up next, we had the Vikings at the Texans. I took the Vikings. This is a close one. It's tough. It was a tough decision, but overall, Deshaun Watson just doesn't have anybody to block him. I think the Vikings just have a little bit better of a team. I think both these teams are not the same team as last year. Vikings don't have that same defense, but Vikings got the win, got me another win. Up next, we had the Giants at the Rams. I took the Rams. I'm a biased Rams fan. I'm going to go for them all year long. I'm going to make up an excuse. I will tell you when I think they might lose, but I'm never going to bet against my own team. So the Rams came out with an ugly win against the Giants, a team that we should have beat by a lot, but a lot of little mental errors that cost us a much bigger win, but they got a win nonetheless. So up next, we had the Bills at the Raiders. I took the Bills. The Raiders definitely had their time where they shined in that game, but the Bills overall are just a better team, got the win. Up next, we had the Patriots at the Chiefs. The Chiefs got the win. I think when I predicted this, it was before Cam Newton tested for COVID-19. I knew he was going to be out. So even with Cam Newton, I think the Chiefs are a better team. The Patriots just lost too many players, and too many players opted out of the season. The Chiefs got a big win and continue to dominate the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best. Up next, we had the Eagles at the 49ers. George Kittle came back, and man, did he look like he hasn't lost a step. He played a really, really good game. But I went with the Eagles here. I believe in Carson Wentz still. I don't think he's a MVP caliber quarterback, but he's definitely a step ahead of Nick Mullins. I don't care about his yards through his first 9 starts. When you're playing from behind, you're going to have those yards. Jared Goff is a good example of that last year. I think he ended up like 3rd or 4th in the NFL in total yards thrown. That's because the Rams played from behind a lot last year, and Jared Goff was having to throw that ball. And also they didn't rely on Gurley enough. But Eagles got the win here, and I got another win. Up next, you had the Falcons at Green Bay. I think Green Bay are one of the better teams there right now in the NFC. I think they're the best team through the first 4 weeks. And they dismantled the Falcons without 2 of their top wide receivers, Lazard and Adams. Julio Jones went down for the Falcons. Falcons are a terrible team. They just terrible coached. I'm shocked Dan Quinn has a job, but Bill O'Brien for the Texans lost his. But I chose Packers, got a win. And to wrap that up, this should be a 16-game week, but it's not. It's 15 because of the Steelers-Titans. So overall, I went 13-2 this week, bringing me to 46-16-1 for the year. So let's go ahead and get out of here real quick and advance the week so that way we can get our picks for the next week. Yeah, so not a bad start to the season. 46-16-1 isn't a bad start. That first week really killed me, but the first week's always the hardest. So hopefully it's all up from here. Okay, on Thursday night we have Tampa Bay traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. This is a rematch for Tom Brady against Nick Foles. This time Foles is playing for the Bears, and Brady's playing for the Bucks. But I think Brady comes out in this game to prove that he is by far the superior quarterback. I think that loss in the Super Bowl to a quarterback like Nick Foles is going to bother him, probably for the rest of his life, just like his 2 losses to Eli Manning. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Very hard to go against Tom Brady, and I'm not going to. I'm going to go with Tom Brady with a win on Thursday night. Up next, you have the Panthers traveling to take on the Falcons. This is a tough game. This is division football. Teddy Bridgewater is playing really well. The Falcons are not playing well at all. But with that offense, at some point or another, the Falcons are going to pick up. And I'm hoping it's this week, because I'm going to go with an upset win here for the Falcons. Up next, we have the Rams traveling to Washington to play the football team. I think the Rams are just a much, much better team. So I'm going to go with the Rams over the Washington football team. I think we're going to go 4-1. Up next, you have the Bills at Titans. This is a tough game. Both these teams are really good. Buffalo did not have a great... their defense hasn't looked like it has in 2018, 2019. They kind of did in the second half against the Raiders. But they're playing a completely different beast here in Ryan Tannehill, who can do the same things that Josh Allen is. He's not as strong, but he's faster. He can run the ball, but he's also got Derrick Henry back there. Tennessee also has a really good defense, a good offensive line. This is a tough game. I'm going to go with the home team. I think the Titans are able to get a win against the Buffalo Bills here at home. Up next, you have the Eagles traveling to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This really, really sucks. Another reason I'm going with the Titans, because they've had a week to rest, an extra week, if they get to play football. And time will tell. Same thing with the Steelers here. They've had an extra week of rest. They're playing at home. They're playing against a beat-up Eagles team. The Eagles just beat the 49ers, but the 49ers are down a million players, so that's not that impressive. I'm going with the Steelers here with a home win. Up next, we have the Cardinals traveling to New York to take on the Jets. This is a okay game, I guess, for the Cardinals to have a bounce-back win. I think they're going to. I think they're going to go into New York, and Kyler Murray is going to have his way with that Jets defense, which isn't very good. Cardinals get the win here. Up next, Bengals at the Ravens. Bengals had a good win last week against a bad team. The Ravens are a really, really good team, and I don't think Joe Burrow or Joe Mixon are going to be able to repeat what they did. I think Baltimore gets the win at home here. Up next, you have the Jaguars traveling to take on the Houston Texans. Jaguars didn't look good against the Bengals, and the week prior to that, they didn't look good against the Dolphins. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans here. I think Texans getting rid of O'Brien was a big step forward for them, and they get a win. Up next, you have the Raiders traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. This is a division game, so it's always tough to predict. But you can't deny Mahomes. I'm going with the home team here. Chiefs get a win. Up next, you have the Broncos at the Patriots. The question here will be, is Brian Hoyer going to be the starting quarterback for the Patriots, or is Cam Newton going to be able to come back? I don't think he will be. I'm not sure exactly how the NFL is going to take this whole COVID-19 and when they expect him to come back. But I think, the Broncos have a good pass rush, and that's going to cause... I'm assuming Hoyer's going to start, and I think that's going to cause Hoyer to have some mistakes. And I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. Hopefully that pays off for me. Up next, you have the Dolphins traveling to take on the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are a beat-up team. Dolphins have sometimes at some points in this season look like they have grown as a team, but I don't think it's enough to beat a team like the 49ers, even as beat up as they are. So I'm going to go with the home team. 49ers get the win. Up next, you have the Giants, the Cowboys. Giants are one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Cowboys are arguably have the worst defense in the NFL, but the Giants don't have enough on offense to key in on that. I think they're gonna have a big game, and the Daniel Jones will throw a lot of yards to a lot of no-name guys. I think potentially the Cowboys pass rush will have a really good chance to start shining in this game. Other than Aldon Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dontari Poe, I think the Cowboys get an easy win here at home. Even though the Giants will put up yards and points against the Cowboys, but I think the Cowboys will, in this game, start going back to Zeke and start turning things around. Up next, you have the Colts traveling to take on the Browns. The Browns have been gifted a really easy schedule here early in the season. They're 3-1. I'm not taking anything away from that, but they just beat a terrible Dallas defense, and 2 weeks before that, they were playing really easy teams. Colts are a real team in the AFC. Their defense so far this year is the best in the league. Philip Rivers is playing really well. I'm going with the Colts over the Browns. And I think the Browns kind of get smacked in the face and realize they're not the team that they think they are. Up next, you have the Vikings at the Seahawks. I pray and hope that the Seahawks fall here to the Minnesota Vikings. Their defense is terrible. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson has really came out of nowhere and just burst onto the scene there in Minnesota. Adam Thielen's doing his thing. Dalvin Cook's doing his thing. Kirk Cousins got to get better. This is your chance to do so against a beat-up Seahawks defensive backfield. They are terrible. The Seahawks defense is just atrocious other than Bobby Wagner. But Russell Wilson. That's all I've got to say. But Russell Wilson. Even though I think there's a good chance Minnesota gets a win here, I'm going with the Seahawks because I just can't go against Russell Wilson, even though they're in my division. I hope nothing but losses for them. But you got to respect a player and their skill. So I'm going with Russell. Monday Night Football, it's the Chargers at the Saints. Please excuse that loud noise in the background. Those are my kids in the shower. Chargers at the Saints. Herbert has looked really, really good so far this season. But he's going up against Drew Brees in New Orleans. So I'm going with Drew Brees and the Saints at home. And that will be my predictions for Week 5 and the recap for Week 4. We are 46-16-1. Hopefully we get a little bit better. Until next time, thank you. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, kablooblow, that like button, notification bell. And until next time, have a great day. The Bird Killer is out.